honest opinion and review on a recent book that has just released only a day ago called #Bitch, which is written by the amazing and phenomenal author Kat T. Masen, a fellow Australian author. This is the second book in her series. So the first one was #Jerk. She released this 5 years ago. I was quite surprised that she brought out a second book, and I was equally intrigued. So this one is called #Bitch, focusing mostly on Presley, but I devoured it within a day. I absolutely love this book, and it wasn't at all what I expected it to be. There are so many underlying messages, strong messages in this book. It's about 50k words, so I devoured it within hours. It obviously stems from Presley's and Haden's relationship in #Jerk, and if you haven't read it, you should. It's basically about Haden, who is the schoolboy kid who pulls at girls' hair, and if he likes them, he teases them, that kind of persona, that kind of character, except for in adult version. And Presley was always very pristine, very rigid in a sense, and they just give it as much as they're just constantly butting heads, but they're so passionate about each other, and the first book was amazing. In the second book, you see them coming into married life and having a son, and just how mostly this is focusing on Presley, but how they're managing that, and they're not managing it very well. So it does cover a couple of things that I think will resonate with a lot of women, especially. It's the foundations of, their marriage breaking down because of lack of communication. It's also going over pregnancy and miscarriage, which I personally have never had a child, nor have I ever had a miscarriage, but it's that in depth that it almost felt relatable to me. And obviously I do know people, I have family members who have gone through similar situations, and I was there to support them, and I thought I understood what they were going through, but this book genuinely really hit me emotionally because there is so much raw emotion in it, as to how Presley was dealing with that and how equally Haden was. And it was interesting to read both their views on what was happening, because you could tell that they loved each other very, very much. And it was just how they were dealing with it. They didn't know how to communicate properly. And I think that's really relatable for anyone who's had a breakdown in a relationship or a marriage or anything really, how important communication is. And it was really the way that Kat's writing is, just watching it stem from the start, where they're seemingly happy, to going through basically the hardest struggle, the landmine, that everything that's happened in their relationship. It was interesting to see how Presley reacted to that, and she didn't react to it well. And I think that there's another borderlining message on this, that not everything is in your control. Even if you are a workaholic and you're trying to keep everything together and people think that you have the perfect life, that you need to make sure that you're looking after yourself. And instead of saying, it's okay, everything's fine, it isn't always, and that's okay. So this was a really clear message when it came to Presley, because she always wanted people to think it was fine. So when people were questioning her or asking her to grieve, she was actually getting very irritated by them, which was her form of defense. So it was nice to see all those emotions, because it just so beautifully went in to each chapter. There was at no point that I felt that it was rigid. I was completely immersed in the slow breakdown of her and her relationship, and Haden as well, because obviously when his wife was so upset and distraught and doing things that she wouldn't usually do that were out of character, he was broken by that as well. And then you also have, there is a third person in this, but I love the fact that it isn't a generic he's looking at another woman or another man is looking at Presley. It was actually, and this is a spoiler, sorry guys, but I'm sure you'll read the book, but it was actually another woman who was Presley's college friend, and she came at the right/wrong time in Presley's life, and so she sees this as an opportunity to perhaps start a fling or a relationship with Presley. And obviously Presley's marriage is breaking down, and she was unknowing to the ulterior motives of Sally. So I loved that it was another woman. I can genuinely say I haven't really read that many other books where, you know, Haden was super jealous of another woman because he thought that it was off, that she was more interested in Presley than she should, and that she was manipulating and being in her ear. So he was quite threatened by that woman, and I think it was an interesting take because it wasn't the generic, you know, boy girl third wheel sort of situation that you would read. I love this series. I don't think that Kat will write a third book to it. You know, I love this couple, but I do think that the themes that have run through the book, that's quite accurate, that the two books are phenomenal. Maybe there'll be like a little Christmas one or something just to see how, you know, their family is going, but I absolutely love the banter with the couple in here. Haden and Presley have such a love-hate relationship. It's such a fiery, they're just at each other's throat, but then they make up for it with after sex and making out, and it's just a really passionate romance. So they really do immerse you into their playful, bantery relationship. And I think too, Kat, knowing her as an author as well, she's a very tongue-in-cheek kind of person. She's very quirky. So often I find myself laughing because, you know, it's still being in her mind a little bit, so I find it quite funny, and it shows through her characters, that quirkiness and the fights and the games. So I really enjoyed this book. I'm going to give it absolutely a 5 out of 5 stars. It was perfect. It makes me want to go on and actually read her other books now. I've always wanted to read Ruby Wars and Arrogant Aussie, so maybe I'm going to read them next, who knows, but give it a look. This one will give you laughs, this one will give you tears. It'll definitely hit home for you. Because I think that there are a lot of messages and relatable topics in this book, which make it so precious. So thank you so much, Kat, for writing this book and sharing it with me. I absolutely loved it, and I hope that as many people in the world can see this video because they should be reading this. So congratulations on the release, and love you. Bye guys.